Well, President-elect Trump has a plan to save Hollywood. He just appointed 3 big-name stars to be special envoys to Tinseltown to help boost business. Writing on Truth Social, quote, "It is my honor to announce Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be special ambassadors to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California. They will serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years to foreign countries, back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. These 3 very talented people will be my eyes and ears, and I will get done what they suggest. It will again be, like the United States of America itself, the golden age of Hollywood." So, Lisa, a lot of this would be accomplished, right, by not capitulating to the CCP's demands in terms of marketing. And we all saw when Top Gun 2 all of a sudden disappeared a Taiwan patch from Maverick's coat and the like, right? And also tailoring films to the Chinese audience. What do you think?
So Hollywood is probably the country's biggest propaganda reinforcer. So I think this move is crucial. And I'm going to give some credit to my friend Jesse Kelly, who's a radio host, and he has the sky is green theory. And so basically this theory goes as such. You have a politician come out and say, you know what, I know we've been saying the sky is blue, but it's actually green if you really look up. And then you have the government pushing out, research and science. The CDC issues guidelines. You have scientists going on TV and saying, oh, I have 1,900 PhDs. The sky is green. You have Hollywood going out and you see the sky is green in the backdrop of movies and on sets. You have athletes come out and say, oh, the sky is green, buy my favorite Nikes. Your kids would have to say the sky is green to get passed through grade school. And then by the end of it, half the country would believe the sky is green. And that's how the propaganda machine works. And I think that just summarizes it so succinctly. And Hollywood's the biggest reinforcer of that. So I think it's smart of President Trump to recognize this issue and to send some of those reinforcements to try to, push for change.
So, Kaylee, does this mean that Christian conservative actors will no longer be canceled and that those movies will shine bright too?
I certainly hope so. If I was a leftist in Hollywood, the first thing I'd do is, or anyone in Hollywood, because they all tend to be leftist, I'd bring in Sylvester Stallone, I'd bring in Mel Gibson, I'd bring in these people and say, what are we doing wrong? Because we look at the money that Disney lost in the wake of some of their woke decision-making. You look at what happened to Bud Light, and then you look at Sound of Freedom, to your point, Emily, which beat Indiana Jones. You look at things like Top Gun, which despite the faux pas you mentioned, did extraordinarily well. The movies doing well are the ones represented by the ideology of the folks on your screen. So bring them in, Hollywood. Don't laugh and keep doing the same thing that fails.
Todd, does this represent perhaps a geographical change as Hollywood, which has to succumb to California law, which is why most movies are made elsewhere? Perhaps Vegas, after Mark Wahlberg's example, might represent the new situs of a lot of these studios that, in fact, encourage actual business and actual non-cancellation culture.
Possibly. Send them to Vegas, send them to Texas. I think there's something completely different going on here. What? Military recruitment. Hear me out. Hollywood has often been the vehicle by which the U.S. government does its recruiting. Look at the individuals that Trump picked. Stallone, Rambo, Vietnam veteran. Mel Gibson, The Patriot. These movies inspire a pride in one's country and make you want to fight for everything that is American. Recall that when the first Top Gun came out, it was so popular among young men and young women, they actually had recruiting booths in the theaters so that moviegoers could sign up for the military. This all goes hand in hand with Pete Hegseth's goal of raising military recruitment. I think there's something else at play here by the virtue of the individuals he picked. He didn't pick Vince Vaughn, my favorite actor. Vince Vaughn is arguably a conservative, right? He's out there, he's funny, but he's not a military, although he has been in some. He picked Rambo and The Patriot. That tells you something.
What a great point. I was
Big
one of
Vince
the people.
Vaughn guy.
William Wallace.
Yeah, I was one of the people that wanted to become a fighter pilot after Top Gun. Totally. And actually, that's what
totally, Emily. 100%. Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, that's what Pete Hegseth said. Remember on the Sean Ryan podcast where he said, yeah, get the guys that made Maverick to make the U.S. Navy recruiting videos. Let's start there.
Yeah, I kind of interpreted this as a bit of an artful troll from Trump treating Hollywood as like a hostile foreign adversary that needs actual government intervention. But the point is true. I mean, Hollywood has become so out of touch and displaced from the rest of the American public that it kind of does need a bit of an intervention. And I loved Mel Gibson's response. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, but he actually said that he learned about this appointment from social media when Trump took out his social. And his house did just burn down in the Los Angeles wildfire, and he ended it with a joke about how he hopes that it comes with an ambassador's residence. So couldn't be a better guy.
I would just say, you saw Top Gun, you wanted to be a fighter pilot. I saw Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers and decided I wanted to be a wedding
And I
crasher.
saw Braveheart, and I wanted to be Scottish.
There you
William
go.
Wallace.
Let's get this woman some haggis.
That's great.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.